Welcome to the Non-Essential Podcast. I'm Steve Gibson.
I'm Ben Matlock. We're back.
We're here. Despite the universe trying to keep us away.
Yeah, I know. That was a 3-week break. Not planned, not even really wanted. At least in the way it came.
Well, yours wasn't wanted. Mine was. It's just... Yeah, I don't want it on record. People thinking back, I didn't want that fucking kid.
The preamble before the show suggests different.
No, that's
before
second
the mics
thoughts.
got hot, Steve was telling me all about what a mistake he made.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean it wasn't wanted at the time. Now it's like, oh fuck.
No, see, you're talking about the kid. I'm talking about the prison sentence.
Oh well, yeah.
You know, so. For those of you who don't follow us on Twitter, amazing you're listening to the show right now. But if you don't follow us on Twitter, what happened was I got COVID a couple weeks ago, and it really knocked the shit out of me. And I was pretty much not in recording shape for 2 weeks. I'm probably not in recording shape now. I'm still trying to find what is recording shape. I was going to say,
like, if you do listen to this show, and if you have... You'll know how bad a shape we've done the show in before.
We tough out a lot of shit, but like, you know,
I do it drunk most of the time. But
yeah, but this was like I literally couldn't like talk for a lot of it. And then Steve, he did the darndest thing. He fucking ripped a Burger King employee over the counter and just started kicking him, calling him by his newborn baby's name. Just to, like, he said I had to get the rage out as the cops were putting him in the squad car.
In my defense, I asked for cheese on my Whopper, and it was under the Whopper. Like, it's simple fucking English, people.
Put it on both.
Like,
put it on both sides. Quit being stingy about cheese.
The Cheese Royale Whopper, I don't know. Burger King, I don't know how Burger King's naming conventions, because I don't eat there that often.
I haven't been to Burger King in a long time, and last time I was, it was pretty disappointing.
Ours is okay. We just, yeah.
Speaking of cheese, like, I heard this thing that the Eagles quarterback went to, like, a cheesesteak place in Philly, and he wanted mozzarella on his cheesesteak. Which
and they hung him?
They wouldn't do it. And it's like, he's the fucking quarterback of the Eagles, and they said no. Which isn't the same as saying, we don't have mozzarella. It's saying, we have mozzarella, but fuck you. And, like, I wouldn't do that, but...
I respect that, because that's... Who the fuck puts mozzarella on a cheesesteak?
Well, no, like I said, I wouldn't do that, but I hate that shit. Like that local fucking restaurant, like, no, our burger's just a patty and ketchup. You want onions? Fuck you. It's like, man, you're making a sandwich. The whole idea of a sandwich is layers. And those layers can be whatever the fuck they want. Like,
I know. I mean, there's peanut butter cheeseburgers. So,
yeah.
Like, but no, mozzarella is wrong on a cheesesteak. I guess, like, to your point, if the person wants it, so fuck why give it to them. But it's wrong.
Well, whatever.
I think less of them, and I hope that they finish in last place next season.
Fuck you! Don't wish that on me.
That's the problem. Is mozzarella doesn't really melt good. Like it kind of melts, but it melts into that like hard, like not hard, but like I don't know.
That's insanity. You're gonna sit here and tell me mozzarella doesn't melt well when there's such a thing as mozzarella sticks?
Yeah, but that's like this.
You and me we're gonna fight now.
Chewy, like half liquid, half like plastic.
This is what tears the show apart. It's like mozzarella is like a staple of fucking Italian food. Like, I'm sorry what Olive Garden did to you, but fucking mozzarella does melt.
And I've always felt like mozzarella is like the cheese with the least amount of flavor. Like it just gives you like stringiness and chewiness.
Like there's way better. It's why like for me a cheesesteak is provolone.
Yeah, provolone. That's the thing is
I've never had the cheese.
I can't say I never used mozzarella.
Fair, so.
Yeah, cheese whiz type like sandwich or sticks.
cheese whiz cheesesteaks. So in like Philly,
okay, yeah.
you either get
I just thought we were still on,
or you get cheese whiz.
Yeah, cheese whiz. And my understanding, I know that they like have like the city is divided in bitter, violent war over it. My understanding is that cheese whiz is really more the original Philly. I've never had that either. I've always had the provolone. Provolone's one of my favorite cheeses, though.
It's an outstanding sandwich cheese.
See, that's my thing. Like mozzarella and even mozzarella sticks, you're doing that for the dipping sauce in the bread. Like the cheese is just there to be like texture in a mozzarella stick.
The cheese is the goddamn foundation of a mozzarella stick. It is. It is the thing holding up everything else. It is.
Yeah, but I contend you could do it with like cheddar or pepper jack or a lot of other cheeses, and you'd actually have a much better cheese stick.
You could not do that with cheddar. Cheddar fucking melts like shit.
You all see that's because you don't know how to cook. You freeze it first, and it holds up through the frying process. If you can fry ice cream, you can fry cheddar.
I do know how to cook, and that's why I don't freeze shit first, is because I'm there to cook, not freeze shit.
But no, I'm firmly in the mozzarella has really 1.5 uses. Pizza, of course. You know, mozzarella.
Pizza should have more than one cheese anyway.
Exactly. That's the thing. If you do a pizza with just mozzarella, you fucked it up.
Yeah.
But for pizza, and then you can put some mozzarella on pasta, I guess. Like if you want some like gooiness to the cheese instead. The Parmesan's better, but if you mix them both, that works.
Parmesan's really good when you have like a sauce it's like melting into.
Mm-hmm.
Like that,
and that's got to be real Parmesan, like that shaker shit. My wife and daughter, like my daughter Lincoln, she'll just pour a mountain of that shaker Parmesan on her plate and just like pick it up and eat it with her hands.
You know, I relate to that. When I was a kid, that I didn't even want the fucking cheese half the time. It made me feel like I was like a human and like I was partaking in dinner.
Right,
because you'd see like your parents using salt and pepper and shit.
Oh, yeah, you cannot let her see you use salt or pepper or else she's going to end up with half a salt shaker's worth of salt on her food because she just thinks it's neat that you can put stuff on your food. But, so, yeah. Anyway, welcome to the cheese talk.
Sorry for the hiatus. But, you know, we're fuck-ups.
As evidenced by 7 minutes of cheese talk.
So you think after almost a month of like no show, I would be prepared for my turn. Nah.
I didn't think that for a second. If it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
This
is the fucking opening monologue. I'm talking to the crowd right now, and you're like that dude on the bass on the Letterman show or whatever, the keyboard, and it's just like, no topic? Huh. And I was like, yeah, no topic.
I don't know if I'd grab my guitar, but I don't think it came through on my mic, which is probably for the best because I was just hitting random notes. Not even, a scale or anything, just notes.
So, today we have a Creepypasta. It's a pretty long one, so we're going to dive in now. It's from Shadow Swimmer 77. I believe we've done stories. From him.
Yeah. I almost guarantee it. In fact, I kind of think it might have been that one where like the person was just driving that we hated so much. So good luck.
Hopefully not that one. And if it was that one, thanks, Shadow Swimmer. I love that one. And this one's called "And the Autumn Moon is Bright." It was submitted for a werewolf story contest, and it's full of fun characters like Fontaine, and I only know that because the first line says Fontaine. All right, Fontaine, how long have we been doing this? I shift and press the accelerator, surging the 67 Impala forward. Fuck, more driving.
If I'm quiet, it's because I'm trying to look it up and see exactly which one we did just to verify, but the
enormous redwoods lining the sides of Route 101 whip by in a blur. Depends when you start counting. Don't be a wise ass, Morgana. I shoot a glare at the linebacker of a man sitting in the passenger seat. A long time ago, a nasty supernatural experience gave me low-level telepathy, but I don't need to read his mind to know he's using my full name just to get under my skin. Already we're, like, into, like... Alright, they have superpowers. Hell, I don't know, Maurice. About 5 years? He nods in agreement. And in that time, have I ever steered you wrong? Grudgingly, I shake my head. Exactly. He crosses his arms to acknowledge his victory. So believe me, you don't fuck around with a wolf man.
Well, in fairness,
I got that tattooed on me in Gothic font.
I was gonna say that's like my favorite classic, like bluegrass rock song. Yeah. You don't fuck around with the wolf man.
Yeah, I'm playing the washboard to that shit. which is exactly what we're about to do. He shifts uncomfortably. Probably. Yes. You scared? Terrified. His coffee-colored face is deadly serious. You should be too. I roll my eyes. Wolfman. Why don't you call it a werewolf like normal people?
Thank you, person.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Wolfman was one movie, you know?
Well, yeah, Wolfman just sounds like the name of like a guy in a biker, not even a biker gang, but like a biker group that wants to sound like a biker gang. Yeah. It's like, oh, that guy over there, that's Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman Jones. It's like a pitcher who couldn't break out of the minors. He shrugs. Different things, pretty wide variety of werewolves. Everything from Indian skinwalkers to idiots who sell their soul to the right demon for a belt or ring. But what's the difference between that and a wolf man? Maurice stares ahead, but his mind is far away. Everything. Werewolves gain a wolf's instinct, but keep their human mind. They can change back and forth, easy as taking off the magic doodad. These guys, you can tell they're pros.
Yeah, I mean, at first I thought you were like just reading a script from Supernatural.
Yeah,
but...
it feels like that right now. Wolfmen are a different animal completely. They look like humans most of the time, but they ain't. He turns to me, expression grave. Wolfmen are where the full moon comes in. 3 nights a month, their human part is torn away, and what's left is the closest thing to death incarnate you're going to find. Silver's the only thing that can hurt them, and even that barely. Try getting a kill shot with 800 pounds of fur, claws, and fangs trying to rip your throat out. He shuddered.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I've done that in 15 video games now.
Yeah.
I've known guys torn to shreds trying to take down a wolfman. Closed casket funerals, everyone. But the worst is if you somehow manage to survive an attack. Honestly, if I die, why would I give a shit, closed or open casket?
I know, I'm gonna... We probably have to redo some of our like estate stuff, like our will and whatnot, because there's another kid around. So I think I'm going to put that clause in there, no matter what, open casket.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when they bury it, too. Like, I don't want to bullshit where it's open for the viewing and then you close it. Just keep it open. Like,
I want a magician to do, like, box tricks with me and, like, make me disappear and shit and, like, cut me in half.
Yeah, but I would volunteer to like have them like set up like they're doing the saw in half trick, but have them actually like saw you in half.
Oh man,
make it a whole I think you should leave skit. Like,
how great would it be? Like he makes you disappear and then like has you reappear with your arm draped around your wife, like in the seats. Like that would be fucking
no better, your arm draped around some other like woman, and your wife's like, that son of a bitch. With a note pinned to you that said, hey, our vow said till death do us part. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I've been waiting to die so I could get some strange. Morris shakes his head. The stories have that part right too. You get bit, scratched, it gets passed to you. Happened to a guy I partnered with a couple times. name of Pat Campbell. Found out he put a silver bullet through his skull not long after.
I like to think the way that this word, I get it's that he worked with him a couple times, but it made it sound like it happened a couple times that he got bit and scratched.
Happened to a guy.
Like, son of a bitch again.
He kept getting fucking werewolfed. Ended up just shooting himself.
I don't blame him. If I just kept getting bitten by a werewolf, like it's just like walking down the street and a werewolf jumps out. It's like, ha ha! I'm biting.
Like you've already been turned, and like the wolf is like just every now and then a wolf just latches onto you.
Yeah,
it pissed me off.
Right.
It seems a little dramatic to me. Yeah? He raises his eyebrows. Fontaine, wolfmen are a danger to everyone around them. The beast puts a rage in him, a bloodlust. Whole lot of battered spouses out there thanks to the mutts they're shacked up with. And that's when the moon ain't full. When it is, there's always the chance their loved ones accidentally stumble on them in wolf mode. Imagine waking up to find the people you most care about torn to bloody pieces by your own hand.
Okay, wait. I love that term, too. Wolfman and wolf mode. Because now I'm picturing a guy, like, the moon comes out, he's like, wolf mode!
Yeah.
Woo! Or something.
The internet's full of boys going wolf mode. Pat had a wife, 3 kids. He knew what had happened, one way or the other. Figured it'd be less painful for everyone if he just ended things before it did. Maurice looks at me. That what you'd call dramatic? Yes. Get a doggy crate. You know, it's my only.
It's like the. Did you ever see the second Borat movie?
No.
Yeah. One of the bits he goes to like one of those like tractor like supply farm places and looking at their big kennels and like asking which ones are big enough for his daughter to fit in. And so that's what I'm picturing, like just showing up, be like, which one of these holds a grown man, a really pissed off grown man?
My only response is to edge the speedometer needle further to the right, the afternoon sun beginning its slow descent toward the horizon. Maurice falls silent and leans back in his seat. Point made. It's getting on towards 6 o'clock when I finally feel the mental tickle I've been waiting for. Here. Maurice sits up as I guide the car to the off-ramp onto the broken asphalt of a local road. Maurice says nothing, experienced enough with my clairvoyance to trust my judgment. The redwoods seem even taller as we continue, their gargantuan height blocking out the waning sun and trapping us in a kind of artificial twilight. After a couple miles, a worn single-story building appears around the bend, a weather-beaten sign out front naming it Lou's Place. My telepathic pings flare, so I pull into the gravel lot and kill the ignition. I close my eyes and concentrate.
Nothing wrong with that sentence, it's just, I'm too tired. It sounded like you said his telepathic penis flared.
Yeah, my telepathic dick flared.
It's
my
a little known
fact. Cock exploded.
That's exactly what, Peter Parker's spider senses are. When he says his spider senses are tingling, he's getting an erection.
What if you got a boner anytime trouble, wasn't you?
Well, I think the city would ask him to quit wearing spandex for starter.
I'm a superhero.
That'd be a very bad costume choice if that was your... Anyway.
I close my eyes and concentrate, reading what I can from the structure. A blood-red cloud engulfs my vision as the sweet scent of prey clings to my nostril. An orb of brilliant silver shines bright overhead. It calls to me, and I drown in its song. I don't know who... That's italicized. I don't know who that's supposed to be speaking.
I was going to say, that sure sounds more like the Wolfman.
So unless this dude's
Jones.
secretly a werewolf and he's going to fuck Maurice up, or Fontaine, I'm losing track of... Yeah, Maurice is the guy who's like, werewolf's bad.
Yeah. Fontaine's the guy that's got the magic dick.
We're following Fontaine, the magic dick.
Yeah, if you want to make it clear, just in the future, just refer to him as Magic Dick Fontaine.
Yeah, Magic Dick. Were you sure there isn't a history around here, Maurice? Nah, Morg. Not much of one, at least. Past few years, they've had a few unexplained deaths around the time of the full moon, but no pattern. Not like the last 6 months, anyway. A rash of killings have attracted us out west. Over the last half year, every full moon has brought more bodies. Everyone horrifically flayed, mauled, partially eaten, violated. Almost 50 spread over as many square miles of Humboldt County. The local authorities don't know what to think, but Maurice and I have a pretty good idea.
I'm pretty sure if you had that many bodies mutilated, it wouldn't be the local authority. I think by that point the FBI would be in on the gig.
Not if you're stumped. It's like, fuck, I don't even know who to call.
Yeah. It's a small town. The FBI's like, your accommodations, your hotels in the area leave a lot to be desired. No thanks, we pass.
Well, let's see what Lou can tell us. I step out of the car, my heavy boots crunching in the gravel, dark hair rippling on a light breeze that carries the invitingly earthly smell of the surrounding forest. Maurice follows close behind, his large frame and imposing presence. I don't need him, but it's nice to have backup when the going gets crazy. Maurice places a hand on my arm as I reach out to touch the door. Remember, Morgan, no matter what we get here, tonight is strictly recon. It's a full moon, and if it is a wolfman, anything more would be suicide. Do you really have to recon? Like, you just said, yeah, we know what the fuck murdered 50 people this way. It's like I gotta, smell its shit.
I don't know why I just had this vision, but I'm laughing. I see these two guys that are, obviously they're supposed to be these badass, Monster Hunter, Winchester brother type guys, pulling up to this, shack where a werewolf is suspected to be in the area, and they're like, let's go talk to Lou. But I'm picturing the ground is a little wet, and when they walk into Lou's place, one of them has this sneakers that do that really fucking annoying squeak 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 with every fucking step.
I had a pair of Nikes, ruined. When I worked at a grocery store, I had a pair of Nikes that did that. Mm-hmm. And you walked everywhere. It's a grocery store. Yeah. And it was just the worst. I was the most annoying. And anytime I was you got in that awkward situation where you're following a cute girl, but you don't mean to. And you're just squeaking behind them. And it's do they think they're going to get killed by a clown?
Right. Yeah, that's even better than what I was. Because I'm just picturing. Because there's nothing I want to see that in a movie, because they always set up the two badasses that flawlessly come striding in, but it's just something like that you can't control. It's one of them, and nobody references it. You don't see it but it's just they come walking up to the counter with a squeak, 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 squeak. You just see the one character try to dry his shoes on the floor mat 8 times, because that's what happens to me. It's and it never helps. Anyway, sorry. My brain's off on this tangent.
All right. Got it, you big baby. Now stop worrying. Let's get to work. I shoved past him and pushed my way inside. The tap room is as dingy as I'd expect, and completely lifeless save for the old man tending the bar, absently wiping its chipped surface with a stained rag. I saunter up and perch on one of the stools, Maurice lowering his bulk beside me. The bartender gives us a look, first of surprise, then concern, before quickly hiding it behind a mask of seeming nonchalance. What'll it be, darling? I resist the urge to roll my eyes and glance over the unimpressive line of half-empty bottles behind him. Bourbon, double rocks, whatever's cheap. He nods. And you, big fella? Just seltzer. Lime if you got it. Then it's not just seltzer. The man moves to fetch the drinks. He's nervous about something, anxiety practically sweating off of him. I lean into the bar. Lou, is it? He nods almost imperceptibly, ice clinking softly in the glass as he pours. Been here a while? Yep. Going on about 25 years now? Huh. Long time. So what do you know about Wolfman, Lou? I start all conversations with bartenders that way.
Yeah.
Been here a while? What are your thoughts on the werewolves?
He was too crafty for me. Damn it.
I mentally pick up a shot of sheer panic, rip through the man in an instant before the glass shatters on the floor. I'm actually surprised how well he keeps his composure as he turns his back to us.
So he drops a glass and it shatters, but
wow,
you're surprised at it.
What a poker face. You need to leave. I throw him a winning smile. Lou, my man, leave all the ladies this unsatisfied? Get out. His face cracks, the fear behind his eyes pouring through. Please, you don't know what you're walking into, darling. I open my mouth to respond. Oh, I think I do. Come on.
Wait, so is Lou a guy or a woman?
Lou is a guy. The Morgana Fontaine or whatever is a girl.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like our main character is female, and she's got a bodyguard named Maurice.
That makes sense. I was confused because I was picturing all three dudes, but the bartender kept calling them darling, and it just is weird to me. I mean, it's fine if that's whatever, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that either until I was about halfway through saying the bartender's dialogue. Come on, Maurice. Or, come on. Maurice stands and hauls me to my feet, pulling me towards the door. Hey! I awkwardly stumble outside, even the pre-twilight intense after the dim recesses of the bar. What the fuck, Maurice? Real subtle, Morgana. Whatever, man. Get off me. I'm going back. He lets me go. Nah, I'm pulling seniority. What the fuck? Maurice shakes his head. No point. We know enough. The guy is obviously involved with whatever's going on. You picked that much up from your first vision, yeah? I nod reluctantly. Okay. Now, his reaction tells us that we're right on about a wolfman. We stick here trying to get more info. He might give it to us, sure. Or, his eyes shift to the full moon slowly beginning to rise above the treetops. It could throw a wrench in things. So instead we're going to go ditch the car, get loaded up, and come back to see what happens. If nothing goes down because you already messed it up, we can always question him later. His brow shifts. Any objections? I respond with a sneer, but stay silent. I know he's right. He smiles. Glad you're on board. We get in the Impala and I crank the ignition. The car sends up a spray of gravel as I throw it in reverse and peel out onto the road. After a quarter mile, I spot a worn deer trail and turn into the woodline. Wordlessly, I exit the car. Maurice joins me at the trunk and we go about readying our weapons. 2 silver-coated knives clip onto my belt. Clip, not sheathed. Something funny about that to me. I'm imagining like early 2000s cell phones, but for werewolves. 6 inches long and carrying a serrated edge. I pull my long duster back to seat a Smith & Wesson in the holster I'm wearing. The revolver loaded with 38 caliber silver bullets I cast myself. Maurice has donned a custom leather bandolier. He situates a machete over one shoulder, the blade specifically treated with silver the same as my knives, and a double-barreled shotgun over the other. Extra silver slugs line the cross belts wrapped across his chest. We exchange a nod, because every fucking action movie, you nod after you have weapons, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We exchange a nod and slip into the trees back toward Lou's. Once we get inside of the building, we hunker down and wait for something interesting to happen. It doesn't take long. After maybe 20 minutes, an old junker screams down the road, pulls into the lot and practically runs into the wall of the bar. An unremarkable-looking man jumps out, stopping briefly to untangle himself from the seatbelt before ducking inside. Well, that's just me.
I mean, yeah, when I'm on the way to the bar, that's kind of how I show up.
That doesn't mean I'm a wolf man. That just means I have a problem.
Right.
I close my eyes.
Thanks, Judgy McJudgerton.
You know, I shouldn't be getting sniped by wolf hunters every time, I'm fucking relapsing, okay?
Right.
I close my eyes and extend my senses. It's hard to pick up any precise thoughts from the man. He's so blinded by fear and rage. Again, that's a usual night for me. I do manage to capture the image of a woman. Blonde hair. All right, now it's out. I've never met a woman.
You've heard about them, though.
I've read stories. I've always really wanted to. I do manage to capture the image of a woman. Blonde hair in snarls, face red and ugly from crying, but nothing more. The man stays inside for maybe 3 minutes, muffled sounds of shouting reaching us even as far away as we are, before he stumbles outside the car and roars off, back the way he came. I raise my eyebrows at Maurice, who shrugs. Come on. I pull my pistol free as we cautiously make our way to the bar entrance. Maurice rests his hand on the machete handle and steps inside as I follow close behind. Lou is sprawled on one of the bar stools, several of the formerly half-empty bottles now completely drained and littered about him. I move to the old man. I never did get my bourbon. His quiet laugh does little to cover a sob. Sorry, darling, I went and drank it all. Knew the jig was up when you started asking questions. What's going on, Lou? Suppose it doesn't matter now. Reckon you were probably watching the place. Saw my buddy Larry. Tried to call, tell him not to come, but he was already on his way here early on account of those bastards. He stops, finds a not-quite empty bottle, takes a drink. Biker gang. Calls themselves Sons of Romulus. That's on brand for biker gangs. Operate out of an abandoned pot grow on a bit north of here. Outlaws no regard for anything. Always been a little off, but last few months they've been downright sadistic, abducting people left and right. Everyone knows, everybody's too scared to do anything. Well, earlier today they took Larry's ex-wife right out of her kitchen. Neighbors in her 70s saw the whole thing, called Larry. Wish she hadn't. He takes another drink, kills the bottle, drops it. He came here hoping I'd help her get her back. I feel for her. Lacey's a sweet gal, and God only knows what those fuckers doing to her. Though I can probably imagine. Enough bodies been piling up. He sighs. But even if I weren't so fucked up, I still wouldn't go. The Sons, they're not natural. Got abilities. But even that ain't it. He trails off, his eyes flicking to the pale moon shining brightly through the dirty bar window. The wolf. Maurice's voice is quiet, practically a whisper. Lou doesn't speak, but the abject terror on his face is answer enough. Maurice moves to the door. Let's go. I rush to catch my partner as he steps outside. Hey! Lou calls after us. Hey, wait! I ignore the old man.
You didn't pay your tab.
Hey, I drank all this and you're going to pay for it.
She didn't get her bourbon, but it didn't say anything about that seltzer and lime, and that's where the money's at if you run a bar.
Yeah. I ignore the old man. Maurice's long strides practically forcing me to jog as he walks back toward the stashed car. What the hell are we doing, Maurice? Going to help that woman and this Larry guy, obviously. One of those bikers must be a wolf man, maybe more than one. We know the direction of their headquarters. With luck, your town will be enough to guide us in. Yeah, what happened to just recon tonight? Anything else is suicide, huh? Morgan? His look is pained. You know better than anyone what it's like to be helpless and trapped with monsters in the dark. Past terrors flash through my mind. Cold red eyes burn into my soul as I'm lost in a living fog. Memory shifts and I'm lying paralyzed in a room of white. The sounds of choked screams echoing nearby. Damn it. Fine. In and out. Assuming Lacey isn't dead already, we get her and get gone. Agreed.
I like that she's like, fine, let's go get some In-N-Out burgers, and then we'll go save Lacey. That's what I assume they meant by that.
We're gonna run through the drive-thru.
Look, we can't fight wolfmen on an empty stomach.
And for the record, I think this is a stupid idea, and it's your fault if it blows up in our faces. You can say I told you so. They'll make me feel so much better when we're dead. Maurice smiles lightly. As long as you're happy. I only sneer in response. We reach the Impala because we gotta keep driving. And are back on the road in short order, moving in the direction we saw Larry fly off. We drive for a couple miles, just enough for me to start hoping my telepathy won't pick up anything up. When I catch the...
Unfortunately, the biker gang had a big neon sign out front. Damn it.
When I catch the barest whiff of the oily mental stench I've come to associate with malignant supernatural entities, with a curse under my breath, I shove down my better judgment and follow. 10 miles and several turns later, the sun is so strong it's nauseating. I pull to the side of the road and look to my partner. We're close. This is your circus, chum. What's the plan? Maurice pauses for a moment, considering. Lou mentioned an old grow plant, which means structures. Let's get eyes on and go from there. I nod in agreement. We exit the car and move into the brush, continuing toward the source. The emissions are so overpowering, I'm forced to stop and collect my bearings more than once. God, it's like someone opened a doorway to hell. There's so much pain here. I think of the mutilated...
It's like the much lesser-known Pink Floyd song.
Yeah. It's a Beatles song first.
Yeah.
The doorway to hell. There's so much pain here.
Yeah.
Did you ever... a friend of mine linked there was a Beatles cartoon back in the day, and Ringo laughed like this, where he goes like, yeah, yeah.
I hope that's his real laugh.
Oh, God,
that's where they got that from.
It was awesome.
I'm just picturing this studio engineer on take 576. He's like, look, Ringo, just give us a laugh, a real and he's like, God damn, fine, fucking use it.
Look that up on YouTube sometime if you need to cheer up. There's just a whole compilation of just his laugh from that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think of the mutilated bodies that have been turning up and shudder. We come to a break in the tree line overlooking a clearing that houses two buildings, one significantly larger than the other. Huh. No sign of Larry. You get a read on anything, Morg? I shake my head. No, too much negative energy from this far out. Maurice grunts, understanding. You up to search? I nod. Yeah, should be able to manage a basic mental cloak. Besides, if you found Lacey, she'd probably freak out at your ugly mug. He smiles. Fair. I checked the smaller one first. Looks like it's got a padlock. Might be where they keep captives. I close my eyes and, concentrating at the space in the center of my forehead, take several long breaths. Is it working? Can barely see you. Just a ripple in the air. Good. Watch my back. Always. I move from the foliage and start cautiously toward the structure. The sons may not be able to see me, but who knows if they have alarms or booby traps rigged. To my surprise, I reach the smaller buildings without any sign of enemies. Maurice was right about it having a padlock. I've got a set of picks I'm decently handy with, but those will take time. Better to determine if Lacey's inside before circumventing the lock. But even this close, I still can't get a read on the damn thing. I move to the side of the building and spy a small, dirt-encrusted window. Taking the corner of my coat sleeve, I wipe away some of the grime to peer inside and immediately wish I hadn't. The light of the full moon shines just enough to reveal the interior of the shed. Dozens of human skins, dried and hanging like leather. Damn it. That's good leather. No.
Yeah. Say, damn it, none of them are in my size.
Stifling the urge to vomit, I turn away and, hands only shaking slightly, move to the larger building that must have been the grow house.
Just another observation. Now I'm picturing, because she was invisible, but she wiped the window with her coat sleeve. So now I'm picturing just this spot of dirt on a coat sleeve floating through the air.
Yeah, just the one bit of dirt she picks up.
Yeah.
Stifling the urge to vomit, I turn away. Ba-ba-doo, scooby-doo. I move to the larger building that must have been the grow house. Reaching it, I try the front door and find it unlocked. I pause to draw my pistol, taking a steadying breath. Now the pistol's visible.
Yeah, but
if just a revolver was floating around, I would be terrified.
Right,
that's a Garth Marenghi episode.
Especially if you're like a methed out biker, like you just see this floating pistol. You'd either be like terrified or you'd be like, "Whoa, that's cool." Like either way, like I think you keep the upper hand, but. Yeah. I love the mental image of like a dirty coat sleeve and a floating pistol.
Yeah. Take a steadying breath and softly push my way inside. The interior darkness swallows me alive, waves of malignant energy clutching and cloying. I take a moment to let my eyes adjust and my breath catches in my throat. The inside of the grow house is one large room. Bikers lay sprawled asleep, seemingly everywhere. On tables and chairs and even passed out in the middle of the floor. The mixed stench of blood and sweat and booze combined with the hostile mental energy assaults me, and it's all I can do not to choke. I almost shit in the... I wish. We haven't had a creepypasta where someone almost shits in a while. I miss it.
I know.
Those were the good old days.
I'm going to like search for a Taco Bell themed one. That's guaranteed to get us there.
I'm going to write a Taco Bell one. Based on true events. Which one's the Wolfman? Shouldn't even...
Sorry, I'm thinking Chalupa Cabra.
That rules. Please write that someday. Which one's the Wolfman? Should he have turned by now? Can't tell. Everyone here looks human. More or less. Count my blessings. Cautiously, ever so quietly, I pick my way through the drunken mass to the back of the grow house. There, separated from the main area, I find another small room containing a large locked cage, 5 feet in all dimensions. The lone occupant silently weeping in the corner is a match for the image I pulled earlier from Larry's mind. Lacey. I set down my pistol and ease the picks from my pocket. Select one and a torque bar. So far, luck is with me. The lock is easy to trip, and no one seems the wiser. I replace the tools and pick my gun back up. Easing the door open, I grit my teeth at the slight squeak of metal, but the only response from any of the sons in the other room is a loud snore. Lacey sits up confused, and I can see she's been stripped naked. Who's there? Her voice drops to a terrified whisper. Please don't hurt me anymore. I consider for a moment. What? Thought you were going to hurt her?
Oh, damn it. She's onto my plan. Well, fine.
Look, don't freak out. I drop my mental veil. To her credit, she manages only a stifled gasp as I shuck out of my duster. Lacey, my name is Morgan. My partner and I are here to help. I'm close enough to sense her emotions now and a sliver of hope cutting through the stink of fear. Here. I pass her the coat and she wraps it around herself. Oh, thank God. They're monsters. They change. Shh. I know. Quiet. We aren't anywhere close to being out of here. Keeping one hand on Lacey, the other on my gun, I guide her out of the room of sleeping sons that seems to have somehow grown 3 sizes in length. This is going to be a miracle if we get out. No sooner has the thought passed than a biker rolls over in his sleep, tripping Lacey. With a shriek of surprise, she falls into a table, knocking several glasses beakers to the ground, shattering. Pandemonium breaks loose. You know, this isn't a bad written story, but it's also kind of written like a D&D campaign. Like, this is where a fight would start. I grab Lacey by the arm and sprint towards the door. The bikers rouse from their drunken stupor more quickly than I had hoped, hooting and hollering as they chase after us. The classic call.
I love that
werewolf.
Phrase.
Yeah.
I love that phrase because I always picture like literal, like them going hoot, hoot, holler, 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 hoot.
That's a Pokemon. Holler hoot.
Holler. I choose. Nobody chooses holler hoot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm stuck with holler hoot.
That was the day that Ash Ketchum realized he doesn't have to catch them all.
Yeah. Better to leave that alone, actually. A gorilla of a man steps into my path and I shoot him in the head. Well, that was... Okay, get right to it. Brain and bone exploding out of the back of his skull. I shift my aim and fire off 2 more shots, dropping a pair of suns. The group's mocking turns angry, and several pull rings from pockets and slip them onto their fingers, their forms shifting. In moments, the men are replaced by snarling wolves the size of malamutes. They flow in a pack of formation around Lacey and I.
What the fuck's a malamute? It sounds like a candy bar.
Yeah, it's like a whatchamacallit. They're Arctic dogs, apparently.
But that sounds smaller than a human.
No, Alaskan malamutes are fucking huge. I might be saying it wrong, but...
yeah, I like Malamute because now I'm picturing she's going to shoot him, and instead of like brain and bone, it's going to be nougat.
I had a friend I worked with at the grocery store who I went to his house to watch football. He was also an Eagles fan, and he had 3 of these fuckers, and they are like, people get them because they can like sort of stand up to, like, at full grown, they can kind of hold their own to a grizzly bear. They're fucking massive.
Well, then why didn't they make the movie Cocaine Malibu? Because that sounds...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
a sequel.
like, if they don't know you and they're, like, protective, they're fucking terrifying. If they think you're a friend, they are hilariously lovable.
Yeah.
Because they have a puppy mentality, but they're, 7 to 8 footers. You know?
I was going to say that first part's, like, true of, like, even, like, little Yorkies. Like, if they don't know you and they're, like, being mean, like...
No, my friend...
A pissed off dog is kind of intimidating regardless of size. Certainly, the intimidation factor grows with the size.
Yeah.
But
there's a difference between, like, a medium-sized dog that, is barking you and will bite your ass to a dog like this. Like, he was telling me a story where, like, he was gone and, like, a cable or internet dude came by to do some work and his wife went to do something else and the cable guy left and then came back in the house without asking or knocking on the door or anything. And this dog pinned him to the wall and just did not let him move for 5 minutes.
At least it didn't, like, rip his throat.
Yeah, it was a very well-trained dog, but it was like, you're not going anywhere until my owner says it's cool. And if you try to move, I'll rip your face off.
Also, we better be getting the best internet package available.
Yeah, so they're snow dogs for sure. I might be getting them confused with another thing, but they're big and puffy fuckers. Anyway, so these guys are wolves now. They swarm in packs. They flow in a pack around Lacey and I, yipping and barking as I waste the rest of my ammo trying to hit them. I drop the gun and draw my knives, crouching in a defensive posture, doing my best to keep Lacey behind me. The wolves circle in, snapping and snarling. One of the still human bikers steps forward. "Man, babe, you killed some of my crew, and you're going to pay for that," he grins. "Hope you like doggy style."
$57.
That's a shitty line.
No, I like it.
A nice quip, you asshole. The others laugh and howl in approval. Hey, the spoken word is quiet and calm, but nevertheless reaches the whole room. All of us, human and wolf alike, look to the door. Whatever we expect to find there, it isn't Larry, his slight naked frame standing in the entrance. "That's my wife, you fucksticks." You gotta do better than that, fucksticks, Larry. Like, come on, man.
And did they just say slight naked frame? Like he's...
Yeah. Besides me, I feel fear explode from Lacey at the sight of her ex-husband. The light of the full moon shining on him, the pieces suddenly fall into place. Oh, fuck. Where the werewolves change seamlessly, Larry's transformation is the stuff of nightmares. He screams as bones crack and rearrange, his face elongating into a fang-filled cavern of razor-sharp teeth. We watch as one, mouths agape, as the change completes. The beast stand of his full height, towering above us, yellow eyes emitting nothing but hunger and rage. And then the killing starts. The wolfman flies into the bikers as they try to escape, his claws opening flesh with every thrust of his massive paws. One of the werewolves leaps at the monster's throat, but Larry turns and catches the attacker's head in his enormous jaws, its skull popping like a grape. It's over in an instant. It takes me a moment to realize that, besides the bikers already dead and those quickly bleeding out, somehow Lacey and I are the only ones left with the creature. With a snarl, Larry leaps at us. Too stunned to move herself, I tackle Lacey to the ground in a panic. Glancing blow from the wolf sending us spinning across the floor. Why did Larry want the bar guy to come? Like, wouldn't he just kill him? Yeah.
Yeah.
If your plan was to, fucking wolf out.
Well, but, and then it seems like a pretty poor plan, too. It's like, they have my ex-wife. I'm going to turn into this thing that's going to kill everybody, including my ex-wife.
Yeah. Well, ex-wife.
Well, that's true, yeah.
It's the principle that I save her, but I don't want to totally save her. Desperately, I throw myself on top of her and try to pull a mental veil over us, unsuccessfully. I scream in defiance, brandishing the knife I managed to keep hold of, as Larry regains his balance and charges with a roar. The gun blast behind me is deafening, the silver slug punching through the wolfman's chest and dropping him to the ground with a whimper. The beast tries to regain his feet, but Maurice calmly steps past me, points the barrel at the monster's head, and puts a second round through his eyes.
I was just about to ask where the fuck this guy was. He's like, sorry, I was taking his shit.
Yeah. I wait until there's one left, and then I'm the hero.
Right.
I gingerly push myself to my feet, examine the carnage around me. Nice shot. I pause. Thanks. Maurice nods in acknowledgement as he reloads. I spy my dropped revolver and retrieve it, taking my partner's cue and reload. Maurice moves to Lacey where she lies unconscious. I hear him inhale sharply. Morgan. I look where he's pointing and see the deep furrows ripped into her shoulder by Larry's claws. Sorrow, quickly followed by an icy rage, fills my chest. Damn it. I only consider a moment before taking my revolver and putting it in her limp hand. Morgan, what are you doing? I shrug. Giving her an option. I indicate the massacre around us. You didn't feel it. She was terrified, Maurice. It's like you said. You don't fuck around with a wolf man. I stand and move to the door. Come on, let's get out of here before Lou finds the balls to call the cops. And I look at my partner over my shoulder. I told you so, asshole. Fighting bitter tears, I walk out into the night, the light of the full moon guiding my way. The end.
That's why I say, hey man, nice shot. That's the song that's playing as the credits start to roll in my head.
I'm going to say this. There is a lot of creepypastas that try to do the action movie type writing. This is probably the best take on that I've seen.
Yeah.
So far.
I didn't hate it. Like my brain kept doing stupid stuff because I'm like half sleep deprived and
I'm
whatever.
But having low blood sugar, so
I did look it. I did look it up like at the very beginning. I didn't want to interrupt the story, even though I interrupt the story all the time. It is the same author that did the. It was like I think it was called. It was a long and dark, lonely road or something. It was
a big fun drive.
Right. So, and again, that one was one that we say, we pulled it apart, whatever. There was, in the way that we do for creepypastas, it wasn't necessarily bad writing, but same story that I thought it was, and I do like this one better.
I think it's substantially. I think there's still kind of pacing issues with it, which was my problem with that driving one.
Yeah, except for that driving one for you, it was like a massive, like, it wasn't like the pace was back and forth. It was like that there was zero pacing.
It was a long fucking drive.
It was a long setup for like a very, very short payoff. But
I think this one, is a little, it's not perfect, but like it's not a perfect story arc. But I thought there was enough kind of back and forth that it kept it moving.
Yeah, and it was one that in the beginning, I was having a little bit of trouble, like, you know, when there's a story, you kind of start picturing it mentally in your head, and it's like you're there. And I was having a little trouble there, but again, I think that was like 90% just being sleep deprived and slap happy. But by the end, like, I could picture, like, like you said, it. If you're trying to read it as like a serious story, that would be interesting. But as like a kind of a campy,
as something
either
like
movie
to explore
or
the idea of like a werewolf story in this, like we talk about creepypastas, they're writing exercises. You try new things with them. I thought this was a pretty neat take on that. I like the idea of that, you know, like so many depictions of like vampire hunters and werewolf hunters and shit. They're like these ultimate badasses and shit. And this had that, but I liked that ending because it sets the tone that Morgan or Morgana or whatever and Maurice are badasses but fuck ups. And they still haven't totally figured this werewolf thing out, where they get people out unscathed.
Well, yeah, and I'll get to one thing.
Which does two things. One, it's kind of funny, and two, it makes the whole werewolf idea like a credible threat.
I really, really liked the twist of, like, because to be honest, I had completely forgotten about the husband, like, that took off looking for her. And you find this biker, like, so really early on, as soon as I mentioned biker gang, you're like, oh, fuck, a whole biker gang of werewolves. That's kind of cool. And then to be like, oh, a different kind of super werewolf versus a biker gang of werewolves. I liked that a lot. That was really, like... I
don't think it was based off nothing, but I honestly... I'd have to look up the, like, mythology of, like, werewolves using rings to transform or something. If that is an original idea, I'm impressed, but I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, but I assume maybe it's a myth, because the other things that they mentioned when he was talking about, like the skinwalkers, I know that's a real thing. There was a couple things that I've heard of before. And then the talisman type trinket thing I hadn't. But so that was neat. But my question is, why, and this isn't for this story specifically, although it applies, why like every werewolf
show?
Well, no, that's a question I ask myself all the time. Every werewolf story, it's like they're hunting the werewolf on the full moon. Like, I think I'd be like, let's head to town, like, as far from the full moon as possible.
And he's like not transformed,
right? Like,
because then that's just murder.
He's still a werewolf. He's still it's not like if you're going to kill a serial killer, you have to wait until they're actively killing somebody to do it.
But it does look pretty bad when the police see a human dead body as opposed to a werewolf's dead body.
Well, just hide the corpse until a full moon. I assume the corpse still transforms. Like,
no, see, he was a werewolf. This silver bullet killed him. No human could survive.
Yeah, if they weren't a werewolf, why did the silver knife?
Why did it when I shot him with 3 silver bullets?
The well-known vampire defense when you're in a murder trial. If he wasn't a vampire, why did the stake through the heart kill him? Good point. No, I liked it.
Yeah, that was a fun one. My voice is
it kind of like gives me what's that, from dusk till dawn, like, kind of.
Yeah, that's another one I like, where it's like, you know, even though guys technically survive that, it's like, you know,
they like survive it despite themselves.
Yeah,
right. And it's also very campy and like kind of corny, but.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's a great movie. Hard hitting hot take from Dusk Till Dawn's a great movie. Have you all heard of Reservoir Dogs?
Is that Selma Hayek? And I forget who played the female.
Well, she's in it, but she's the hot stripper vampire, and then she dies.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Is you've got Selma Hayek as a stripper, so that's like also
unfair almost. Every other movie is like, what the fuck? How'd you get her to do that?
Right.
So yeah, that's the show, and I need to go eat. Seriously, I'm shaking. So goodbye.
That's how good the story was.
Yeah,
like
I'm shaking with hungry fear.
So yeah, thanks for listening. And despite everybody else's insistence to the otherwise, we will be back.
Yeah, you can't keep this show down. Top men have tried. All right, see ya.